I'll be using this lounge chair model to demonstrate the use of arrays. Let's say that for whatever reason we want to have a sequence of lounge chairs spaced 5 feet apart in this direction. We can do that with the Array tool. It's located here on the Extras toolbar. But if you don't want to have this toolbar open, you can find Array in the Tools menu. Note that you have to have a selection made prior to using the command. It opens this massive dialog box, which can be a bit intimidating at first. But don't worry, I'll break it down for you. Notice that the content within the dialog box is grouped into different areas, like type of object and array dimensions. The type of object refers to the clone type. We'll make instances of the lounge chair to be more efficient. After all, the lounge chairs are all identical. Under Array Dimensions, the first thing you should do is choose which dimension of an array you want. A one-dimensional array is a sequence of objects in a line. It can be a row or a column. Let's make a total of 5 lounge chairs. And unlike the quick and dirty array that you learned how to make with cloning, this count includes the source object, so it's a total count. And there's a check over here that tells you the total number. We can turn on Preview and we'll be able to see the changes dynamically on screen. But it just depends on how much screen real estate you have, because you'll have to try to move this dialog box out of the way, and it's tricky because it's so big. The next thing we need to focus on is the real meat of the dialog box, and it's up here in this area. Right up here it tells you the reference coordinate system in use and the transform center type. We're in world coordinates because we're using the view reference coordinate system in a perspective viewport. And we're using the pivot point center, which is fine for this object. Looking a little more closely, there's labels up here, incremental and totals. And this is an either-or situation. You can either use incremental numbers or total numbers. It doesn't matter which you choose. And you can activate them here with these arrows. And you have control over all 3 transforms: move, rotate, and scale. So let's say that we want to move the chairs over 5 feet at a time. So that's an incremental value. I'll type in 5 feet and press Tab. Look at that. It happened. If we also want to rotate each item as we go, we could put in 15 degrees in the Z-axis right here and press Tab. And you see how it rotates each lounge chair incrementally. Alternatively, we could put a 0 back in here and make this a total, so that we want to rotate a total of 90 degrees by the time the array is done. Now I'll press Tab and it will happen. Reorient is a checkbox that allows it to be rotated as it's arrayed. If you get lost, you can always click Reset All Parameters and everything in the dialog box will go back to the way it was when you opened it. If you have really complex geometry, you can say Display as Box, and the previews will be more efficiently rendered on the screen. But we're okay with just 5 lounge chairs, so I'll uncheck that. And once I'm satisfied, I'll click OK, and it's done. But notice that we have no recourse to adjusting any of those parameters once we've closed that dialog box. It's done. If we made a mistake, we'd have to undo and then do it again. But if that happens, it's not a total loss because the values that we entered previously are still in here. And we can make subtle adjustments again until we're sure that's what we want. In this case, I don't really want to rotate it. I'll just make this 0, and I'll click OK.